You're listening to Spiritual Wisdom Weekly, the podcast from the Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living. This guided meditation is a time to reconnect, realign, and remember the truth of who you are.
Thank you for being here and joining us in the internet, or as Ernest Holmes said, the ether. John, for joining us for an opportunity to do some meditation and do some thinking. I thought that this morning I would do something not like quite a meditation, not quite a sermon or a treatment, sort of, which is my strength, I think, is teaching. And I have been for some time doing comparative study of Ernest Holmes and some Christian principles, principally because I think that's a good way to get people who have a yearning for faith, but have been trained in a certain kind of thinking and how to use the language of the Christian faith in order to understand how the science of mind actually works. So over time, I have been doing studies in comparison of principles. I think that that's what I'd like to try to do today as we sit and just meditate and listen to the music, which is a calming factor, vibrations. These vibrations calm our soul because we are made vibrating atoms. By vibrating calmly, I believe the message will get through. And for those of you who are not quite yet familiar with the concept of Ernest Holmes and science of mind, I'm hoping that this meditation, this message, is something that will resonate with you and that will get you closer to try to understand and be strong in your faith, because ultimately that's what happens. If your faith is only skin deep, you get a scratch, you move away. But when you have a firm belief in the principles of what you live in your life, it's so much easier to live your life. So I'm going to go over 6 principles that I've been able to compare between Ernest Holmes and the Christian Bible, but I might think that it'll be helpful for you to deal with life. And I want to deal with specifically a particular issue in life, and that is the issue of anger. Because I can tell you something. I've been studying, philosophy and religion basically all my life. And of course, here I am representing a minister of science of mind, but I am definitely not perfect, and I don't know. In fact, the more I study, I realize how little I do know about anything. And I struggle personally, constantly with dealing with my emotions and bringing my faith brings me back. And recently, I have been dealing with the question of anger. And mostly, with my personal background has been in civil service and working with the community, working with the law, that I have been really angry at what's going on to my country, to my interpretation of what's going on. And I have to deal with these feelings of anger. So I thought that I would go to my notes of the comparison with Ernest Holmes and what the Bible talks about anger, and see if together, as we sit in meditation, these words make sense. Ernest Holmes says that anger, irritation, and agitation are rooted in internal mental causes, not external triggers. This suggests that rather than being caused by another person or another situation, anger is a byproduct of our own resistance to what is. What he's saying in those words is that it is a product of our mind. Anger is created by us, not by someone else. It is our reaction to someone else's actions that causes that emotion within us. Think about that. How can we control our emotion so that anger does not enter and does not disturb our peace? The Bible says, be slow to anger. The Bible encourages a patient, calm approach. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. As a human anger doesn't produce righteousness. See how similar these concepts are. Like being is slow as we see or hear someone else's action, and we are patient and calm. We do not allow emotion to control our mind. And it is the mind that creates the emotion, which creates the fact, the reaction. Holmes tells us that anger dissipates power. When we are not calm and poised, our power is dissipated and lost. He believed that true power and spiritual growth comes from releasing negative emotions like anger, malice, and vindictiveness. Calm and poised. The Bible tells us control expressions. Quote, the wise restrain their anger rather than give full vent. Turn to God in prayer. Both expressions, how we control the emotion, is a guidepost to how to deal with not just anger, but whatever other negative emotion that comes to your mind. This is why it's so beautiful to have soft music as we're playing, because that calms our soul, puts us in a position to do true analysis of how we behave and how we react and why. Holmes taught us that energy seeks outlet. He said, unexpressed emotion, including anger, creates pressure that can manifest in physical or nervous disorders. Holmes taught that emotion needs an outlet, and a person's intellect can and should decide how that energy is expressed constructively. So it's telling us by that is that you cannot deny the emotion that is reflected, but you can deny its control over you and your reaction to it. Because the energy is there. Question is how to direct the energy positively so it does not affect your peace or calmness. The Bible says, don't let anger fester. Quote, do not let the sun go down on your anger. It should be dealt with daily before it leads to sin. Again, similar thought, same concept. You control your emotions or they will control you. And it all starts the power of the mind. It's our mind and the reaction that we have toward other people that can control the situation. You either control the emotion or it will control you. Paul taught us, and he considered anger, malice, and vindictiveness to be subtle forms of fear arising from a sense of inferiority. And other practitioners in New Thought have thought the same thing. What this profound statement is saying, as you go into the analysis of why you're angry, think that it's possible it is a fear that you have. And from that fear, that subconscious fear is causing the reaction of anger. Let's look at that and know that we should never be afraid. The Bible on this point says, focus on the problem, not the person. When communicating, attack the problem, not the person. Practice forgiveness and love. If we fear the person we're talking to or fear what they could do to you, that will cause an anger and that will upset your peace. Have faith that it will not be so. That faith will give you strength. Strength in mind and strength in show, display, and character as well, of course. Strength in your mind that you will overcome and will overcome whatever fear is being caused in you by the attack of the other person who's trying to instigate to you. Paul taught us fear versus love. Say that all negative emotions, including anger, stem from fear, while all positive emotions, such as joy and peace, come from love. The Bible is replete with mentions of love. It says, forgive others, let go of bitterness and malice, forgive others, just as Christ forgave you. Convert your anger into love, turning good for evil. This point is so basic that it crosses all philosophical and religious training teachings. It is love, the one constant emotion that brings you peace and joy, that will bring a smile to your face. Every time you look at your child, you look at the loved ones in your family, and you know how that feels. That emotion is universal. That emotion is God. We can convert whatever anger and fear into love or a full control of our emotions. This is definitely not easy. I work on this a little bit every day. That is the solution of love. Love crosses every faith in the, on this planet. Home said it so perfectly. And I'll repeat, all negative emotions, including anger, stem from fear, while all positive emotions, such as joy and peace, come from love. He further said, turn toward love. By shifting one's focus from fear-based emotions to love, it becomes possible to overcome hate and fear, which are toxic and destructive. Last point, so well said by both Christianity and, of course, practice science of mind. Holmes writes, love overcomes both hate and fear. Practice forgiveness. Unresolved anger and bitterness are seen as toxic emotions that can lead to health problems. Forgiveness in this context is primarily for one's own peace of mind, not for the other person. Bible says, let go of bitterness and malice by forgiving others, just as Christ forgave you. Convert your anger into love by returning good for evil. These are just a few of the points where you compare science of mind with some basic Christian principles. I could do the same, and perhaps I will do the same in meditation, Hinduism, and in Islam. The point of today's message, today's meditation, is if you are laboring with negative emotion, whether it's malice towards someone else or anger, you have to let that go for yourself, for your own peace of mind, for your own health. And only love can overcome all negativeness in the world. I know that is tough. You look at history, you look at time, say, have we progressed? The actual answer is that yes. If you look at the big picture, is there still violence? Is there still hatred? Is there still negative emotions out in the world? Yes. But it all starts with you. It starts with me. Here at the center, we all say, let its peace, let their peace on earth, and let it start with me. Has to start with you. You must be in faith. You must be strong. When you are, you show that light to everyone else around you. When you're at peace, you bring the people around you at peace. And the more people we have at peace, less likely there is to be any negative emotions, malice, hatred, which are so toxic for the people who are so sadly infected with it. So for today, for this week, as we meditate on the question of controlling our emotions, controlling anger, no matter what you see in the media, what you see in the press, know that love, let it explode from your heart, let it explode in your smile, let it explode out so that everyone can see and say, why are you so happy? Because I'm at peace. And so it is.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Spiritual Wisdom Weekly. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, follow us on social media at Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living, and support our work, including this podcast, at gocsl.org. Until next time, take good care and keep growing in spirit.